Breaking news, Facebook has just taken down some Trump campaign ads for violated rules about glorifying violence.
President Trump is not happy, and he's hitting back.
Fact check, F-A-C-T, fact check.
You may have noticed lately tech giants have been cracking the whip when it comes to
Fake news, fake news, fake news. I am the least racist person in this room. It's China's fault. I'm really not a bad person, by the way.
Twitter's flagging Trump's tweets while Facebook's extending its ban on political ads for another month.
What a group of losers we have.
Yep, it's getting a bit harder for fans of alternative facts, but not on Parler. In the week since the US election, more than 4.5 million people have migrated to Parler, doubling its user accounts and sending it straight to the top of the US most downloaded app list. Parler launched in 2018 with financial backing from prominent American conservatives. It looks like Twitter, it functions like Twitter, but there are some key differences, starting with this catchy tagline.
Speak freely and express yourself openly without fear of being deplatformed for your views.
A lot of conservatives are just trying to get away from the censorship and find a platform that we can use to express ourselves the way we want to.
In practice, this means things like unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud or QAnon material can be thrown around willy-nilly without any fact-checking or mediation.
Instead of crawling under a rock, they're now congregating on Parler.
Don't just take Audrey's word for it. Let's take a look under this rock and see what bugs crawl out.
Democrats hate voter ID because an honest election is their worst enemy, and they know it. Hashtag fact.
The media declares with a straight face there's no evidence of fraud. Ignore them.
The left is the enemy of the people.
Now, these kind of posts aren't new, but what's missing on Parler is any kind of counter view.
We're seeing it on a much grander scale in terms of our choice of social media platforms. If you go on Parler now, you're only going to get this very far right-leaning conservative viewpoints.
Trump's campaigners and his personal lawyer are all over Parler, but the Don himself is yet to sign up.
I think if Trump doesn't move there and it still remains a bit of a fringe platform, I don't think we'll see the kind of growth that will be able to compete with platforms like Twitter and Facebook.
Can we now move everybody from Twitter to Parler? Can we just make the shift together? Like just say goodbye Twitter, see you at Jack, nice try.
After one of the most controversial and divisive elections in history, could we see social media split in two?
That's enough. Put down the mic.
I mean, my natural tendency would be against censorship, but this isn't about censorship. That's the way they try to make it. It's about fact-checking and being able to keep discourse that's discourteous out of the platform. Once upon a time, we always had filters. You know, the media had its own filters, editors, news directors. That's gone. That's not a bad thing with social media. But the reason it's a good thing that platforms like Facebook and Twitter are starting to remove the completely unfiltered world is because it reinforces incorrect thinking. It reinforces sometimes hate speech and all sorts of problematic ways of having attitudes, and that undermines democracy.
And when you consider how many people are still with Trump at this point and still believe that vote checking has to happen because they feel like the election was stolen from them, then they're going to go on this and, as you say, there will be no fact checking whatsoever. And I mean, I really worry about the future of the US when it is this divided, and that's only going to make it worse.
It'll be a big moment if Donald Trump does make the leap across, because he's got nearly 90 million followers, and that's just on Twitter, quite apart from all the people that vote for him and watch him globally. So watch this space.
It is an interesting line when so many of the Trump supporters seem to be going across, and yet Trump himself has been the biggest ad for Twitter that there has ever been.
Yeah.
I reckon what he'll do, he'll get shares in Parler before he jumps across.
That wouldn't surprise me.
He's the guy who... What did he write that book, The Art of the Deal?
Yep.
That'd be the ultimate deal for him.